Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation. It is really a big pleasure to be here today. My name is Veronika Liebl. I am Managing Director at Ars Electronica. But before I jump into Ars Electronica itself, I actually brought the question for today. How does a city transform from an industry city into a world-recognized city leading innovation, technology, and creativity? 40 years ago, in fact, Linz in Austria, where I come from, was a heavily polluted steel city. But the decision makers make the conscious decision to invest into culture not just as an ornament or a decoration, but into something which would really drive transformation. And I would like to bring a couple of examples today. I brought also some of the learnings which might inform us all how one can build sustainable creative ecosystems. I'm pretty sure not every one of you knows Ars Electronica. In fact, we are a platform of digital arts combining art, technology, and society. We have started in 1979 through commenting and analyzing the digital revolution, and we are very much focused, of course, on emerging technologies and how they affect our societies, also how they affect us as individuals. We always try to understand how these technologies impact, also shape our digital cultures, but how we as society can also shape technologies back. And this is the very origin of Ars Electronica, and I want to bring you actually to the most original moment of the history back in 1979, when the first keynote speaker arrived at the airport in Linz. It's material from our archive at Ars Electronica. And this first keynote speaker was a robot called SPA-12. Imagine that scene, that the mayor and local politicians came to greet the robot with the red carpet, with media stations, but it is a testament of the specific choice these politicians made, not to invest in yet another opera house, but really into something which would also very much investigate technology as culture. Not in a form that we want to understand what culture or technology can do, but what it should do. And this was very much also the driving hour of the Ars Electronica Festival, where experts from all over the globe came to Linz to discuss exactly these questions. In parallel to this, the city decided from the very beginning on that citizens need to be part of this very discussion. They need to also be proactively participating in this transformation process. And this was the birth of the SoundCloud. And I brought a couple of images from the 2024 edition. In the first edition, back in '79, they asked the citizens and residents of Linz to open their windows, place the radios in the windows, and play together the 8th Symphony of Anton Bruckner, a famous Austrian composer. And through this, they transformed collectively really the city into literally a city of sound. Up to today, this event attracts more than 100,000 people each year and stands really also for this power where you can achieve also participation through the public through technology. This is something we see now very much reflected also in the city. Today, the city of Linz is no longer only a steel city. Don't understand me wrong, industry is still extremely vital in the city, but it is living really in a very symbiotic way with the creative industries, also with academic sector and the public administration. You're just seeing a couple of the institutions, like our museum here in the video. we have a creative industries hub. We have many universities, including the Linz Institute of Technology, and umbrella organizations like the Digital Mile, combining more than 100 AI and IT companies. All of them really work actively together in shaping the future of the city of Linz. And today, just a couple of numbers, Linz has more jobs than residents. Every 17th residency in Linz starts a new company, and those numbers just show, yes, you can really use also culture for this very transformative process, also for the possibility of creating new types of imagination. And this kind of transformation is also characterized in the very DNA of Ars Electronica. This is our ecosystem. Those are the different departments we are running. We are covering really the full creative value chain, from research and innovation in our own Ars Electronica Future Lab, in our research and development department, to experimentation at the festival, educational activities in the Ars Electronica Center, and then really commercialization, so bringing outcomes of Ars Electronica also to a market. We try once a year to bring this ecosystem alive as much as possible. Of course, the local ecosystem, then typically more than 400 partners from all around the globe are joining us for 5 days. This year, we had more than 120,000 visitors at the Ars Electronica Festival, always held at the beginning of September for 5 days, and more than 1,400 artists, speakers, professionals were actively involved from 83 countries. These numbers are impressive, but I think the most impressive part of the Ars Electronica Festival is that it brings together, for example, a quantum physicist with someone working in music, or a robotic engineer working together with a choreography, or citizens really debating topics of AI ethics. Last year, the festival was called Panic, Panic as a way also to ask how can we actually, in these days of crisis, obviously in these days also of constant change, remain also this positivity, also this way of imagination. And here is a short trailer. Well, the big question is obviously what comes after Panic next year. For this, I would cordially invite you also to join us in Linz next year in September, and become part of the next edition. For us, I have to say the most important source of innovation is really the Ars Electronica. This is the world's oldest and longest running media and digital arts competition, usually attracting up to 4,000 submissions per year, this year from 98 countries. And this is for us really a huge demonstrator of not only artworks, those are works reflecting very much the contemporary challenges, social, digital as well as environmentally. And many of the artists don't only want to use these technologies, they want to also examine the very systems behind. They want to be part of the technological development. They also wanted to feed into policies. And I brought a couple of examples to make this a bit more tangible, starting with the field, the most obvious one currently, artificial intelligence. Where artists really want to understand who builds these AI systems, whose data does it reproduce, whose biases does it reproduce, also which kind of intelligences are we maybe leaving out with the AI models we're using. And one of my absolute favorite projects is how to get hit by a self-driving car, which is a funny, but also quite serious game where you cross a fictitious street and try to not be detected by an AI vision system. Basically, the audience quite quickly understands, yes, this is very funny, but it can have, of course, deadly consequences too. It is really about understanding also that certain movements, certain body types, particularly certain objects in combination with bodies, are far more difficult to discover or visualize than others. And audiences immediately understood that when we presented it as Ars Electronica Festival, and the artists also engaged then the artists and the visitors in a conversation if they want, for example, also to use the data from playing the game to then develop the AI model further. So it is an immediate conversation with the wide public on AI ethics, on governance systems, also on control of these systems. And it's just one of these powerful examples which immediately shows how strong also culture can be as a mediator of complex topics like AI. Many of the artists also work in the field of environmental awareness. The Golden Nika winner of last year, B.T. Wolf, created a fantastic data visualization project called Smoke and Mirror last year from nearly 60 years of data on emissions, juxtaposed with the big lies also from oil industry, particularly on denying the climate change. I show you a couple of images also from that work, which is a fantastic visualization, and please also enjoy the music.
So my heart, there's a sickness in this world, keeps on spreading through this land and sea. Though I know there is something in this world we must be learning, it's almost killing me. 'Cause hold your heart, my darling. Hold your heart, my darling. And hold your heart, my darling, now. No matter.
Well, this is a fantastic example of creating environmental literacy among the public, but we also have artists who want to go beyond awareness. They really want to develop tools that anyone can use. And this is a project by Alexander Ginsberg called Pollinator Pathmaker, which anyone can use really to design your own garden at home. A garden which, with an AI-powered tool where you just insert the soil information and the location of the garden, also the size, of course, and you get an algorithmically designed garden plan which benefits pollinator species. So it is not designed for your taste, but really for the sake of maximizing biodiversity. So it is basically a tool that everyone helps to create the garden which benefits our pollinators, but also become part of a worldwide collective act of climate resilience. And one last project I brought for today, because it shows so well also in which direction Ars Electronica is working, the avatar robot cafe. And at first it seems like a very normal classical robot cafe, but it is not. The robots are not autonomous. Behind every robot, there is a human being not able to come to that cafe because of severe physical disabilities, and they are interacting with the clients in the cafe. They are also, through that, being able to bridge again into the social life, demonstrating that it is so important that we also discuss how technologies can much more expand us than replace us. And this brings really, really essential topics on the table, also in a way that how we want to develop technologies, not as something which is isolating us, but much more which is connecting and expanding also our capabilities. We bring all this then to the Ars Electronica Center, our museum, that is our year-long infrastructure with a whole exhibition dedicated to artificial intelligence, and most of what we present in the Ars Electronica Center is also something we develop ourselves in our research and development laboratory with more than 30 interdisciplinary researchers from all across the world, predominantly also working for industry. One of the most famous projects is Spexels. It's a word creation between space and pixels in 2012. These drones lightened up the sky of the city of Linz in a drone formation in a three-dimensional space with letters, also with different figures. And yes, today there are many drone shows over the world, but where this all started is really through an idea and a collaboration of artists and engineers back in 2012 at the Ars Electronica Future Lab. Many of our collaborations are centering around human-machine interaction. That's the area where we work the most for industry. Quite famously also for Mercedes-Benz, for example, who engaged us also in co-developing the self-driving car. And of course, we did not develop the self-driving car. We were much more involved also in how this interaction between a self-driving vehicle and humans can work. Is it through gestures? Is it through voices, through light? How can we communicate, for example, such a car that we want to cross the street? And you see, those are not design questions. Those are also not necessarily only technical questions. They are very much cultural questions. And this is why many of the companies really need also this bridge between art and technology, and of course also involve the wider society in such developments. As I said at the very beginning, we try also to bring then certain products to a market, and one of our currently bestseller is the Deep Space. Imagine a room with 16:9 floor and wall projection, 3D, laser tracking, where you can really dive into fantastic visuals, culture, heritage, tour, for example, Notre Dame, or see the Last Supper, Mona Lisa in super high resolution. But at the same time, also dive into scientific content. We are hosting, for example, anatomy lessons with the National Medical University in Austria on science communication topics, really. So this is really a fantastic collective, immersive room. It's not something where you're just in your own goggles, but really can experience this together with 120 other people. And I hope those examples demonstrate, of course, how you can really build these creative ecosystems. And of course, this is clearly something which does not come overnight. It needs systemic investment, but it is also something which can be reproduced based on a couple of quite simple principles, in fact. It requires investment, sustainable investments into art and tech-driven spaces, which also encourage this type of risk-taking. It requires fostering also this transdisciplinary collaboration, breaking out the silos, making sure that every disciplines or all disciplines in a city really actively working together. It requires also public participation, really making sure that the citizens are also engaged, creating their ownership also in these development processes, can share their ideas and also build trust in the digital transformation. And last but not least, it definitely requires also a fundamental commitment to addressing the grand societal challenges. With this, I thank you very much. Thanks.